Okay, Shannon, are we heading back to My Cart Favorites?
I didn't hear anything back on that, so.
Okay, really quick, we nested one. I'm going to go through a little quicker this time. We're going to nest another one, and we're just going to kind of pop through it again, okay? Just so you can kind of see My Cart Favorites again.
So I'm assuming
Yep.
that when I hit candies, you're going to nest them so I can do hot tamales, Snickers, and.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. So watch this. We're going to just go home again, just so we can kind of know where we're starting from. I can go multiple different directions, but I'm going to say My Cart Favorites. I'm going to say search and add. We're going to go with Snickers this time. Boom, it comes up. Add to favorites. If I'm going too fast, holler at me, okay? I'm going to kill one of those. I don't want it. I want it simple. I'm going to leave the categories basic right now. I'm going to nest it underneath candies right there. That's where I make that happen, okay, Cheryl? I'm going to change the color to purple. I'm going to come down. I'm going to skip. I'm going to say, yes, I am doing exact. I'm going to leave the product ID number. I'm going to go to custom. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say a direct add. I'm going to actually say we're going to do 10 Snickers bars as well. The pricing, what price do we want to put for these? We did 75 cents for the other ones.
Yeah,
Let's do that again. So 10 at 75. I'm going to leave the description, okay, and I'm going to come down and say you were actually resale. Does that make sense how we made all those settings?
Yeah.
Scroll down to the bottom, hey, add the favorite. So as soon as it's added, I technically already have a cart that's built, and normally you're not building these buttons while somebody's waiting in front of you. You build them, and then when somebody comes in, you're like, bam, 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 you're able to do them fast. But now, if I come here, under this button group, I now have two options, hot tamales and Snickers, okay? So if I click on Snickers, it should automatically take 10 Snickers to my cart. 10, 75, Snickers, resale. Those are my settings that were set in my cart favorite buttons, okay? Does that make sense how that kind of works? You can nest all sorts of stuff. Like we only covered one of the group options. There's a grouped tier, like an advanced matrix, which you basically, instead of having like the tamales, you could tweak it out pretty far. It kind of makes it kind of fun. You want to see just the difference, just for a quick second? Okay. Once again, we're still just playing, but this is more of an educational portion. I'm going to actually go to My Cart Favorites from anywhere. Okay. I'm going to actually go into the bulk sort and add, and I'm going to go down to my candies group. Okay. Now instead of saying, hey, show this as a button group, we're going to edit this and say show it as an advanced grid. So it's still on the group option. It's still going to be called candies. It's still going to be purple. And I'm going to come down to the very, very bottom where my options are here. And I'm going to say, what if I changed you to an advanced grid? What would this do? And say edit favorites. So we didn't make that many changes. We basically changed one thing here on the option 4. So it's going to get a different icon now. Instead of having the button group icon, it's going to have the advanced grid. Edit the favorites. So now if I click on candies, watch this. Okay, so what happens here, if I still click on these buttons, guess what? They will still do exactly what I told them to do. But I can now tweak it if I wanted to.
And the 86 and the 391 is what I have in inventory.
Correct. So you can see a lot more pieces here, and it depends on your display options as far as what you want. Now, once again, the reason this has a double submit button, we haven't even tried to submit it yet, but is a lot of people will use this advanced grid because they're measuring certain things in. They'll use a digital scale. So say they have a little group like we did, and they're like member products or top shelf products or whatever it might be, okay? What they do is they click on that. Here's everything that I have on my top shelf. What would you like? I'd like this and this and this. And so they're measuring it out. And because they're using a digital scale, that digital scale has built into it, as soon as you press the little button like print or scale or whatever it ends up saying, it's trying to hit enter. But if you're in a web form, enter says submit. And so what we did is we disable the main submit button until you say, hey, okay, allow it to be used. So right here, as soon as we change that, I have all of these other settings, but check this out. Oh, they want 20. Oh, you know what? he doesn't actually want that many. You can do this as well. These buttons, this is just a comment. If you do use these little click buttons, most of us are speedy clickers. And if you go click, 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 it can't handle it that fast. But if you're willing to just kind of go slow, it'll go slow with you, okay? But if you try to go speed, it can't keep up with you. It's like, it's trying to do it. It's just, it's called JavaScript, but basically it's inside your computer, and we're actually harnessing your computer to alter something on the form before it's submitted, okay? But basically, if you're patient, it'll click down through anything. So right here, I could actually submit 2 of them at once because they have quantities. If I didn't want something, all I have to do is change that to a 0 or blank, and it would basically skip those. If I enable this submit button, I'm going to add 20, 29, and 4, and this one's going to actually be at 70 cents. Like you can tweak some things, okay? Add it to the cart. So what we just did is we said I did 29 and 4 at 70. Okay, I added multiple pieces. That's almost recipe type stuff, but you're basically doing it through button interfaces and smaller coding versus the whole recipe. Yeah.
Just a follow-up comment on the vendors that you did for John.
Yes, that's great.
His comment was, we need to have a setup PO for new vendors. You made it look a lot easier than what we have to do in order to get them into the system.
Okay, so what he's talking about is often he's kind of running a homogeneous inventory, okay? So say, for instance, you have something like this. Say you have vendor XYZ and vendor PDQ, but you're buying both things from them. I was just drinking some water, and you probably like way better water than Western Family, but this is where this would be a generic product, okay, or a bulk enter. So what ends up happening is he's basically saying, I have this vendor, and I need to add his pieces in, but I want to add here. So instead of saying, hey, XYZ, I've got all of your products, and XYZ, I've got all of your products, he's virtually saying, I have to create all these products, and then I have to pull some pieces in. This is how I would recommend it, is you set the vendor up very easy, and then you basically, do you want to see how I would do it? Say I was doing water from 2 different vendors. But we're totally switching gears here. Are you okay with that, or do you want me to finish with my cart favorites?
I think we're good.
Okay,
Yeah.
Cool. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm actually going to clear this cart. We were just playing, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and clear the cart. And what we are doing is we are going to actually switch. So our goal right now is to enter bottles of water. We may end up getting Nestle. We may end up getting, you know, whatever other sorts of brands we want. Like there's tons of them. Aquafina, But what we want to do is we want to sell bottles of water. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're basically going to start at the vendor level. I'm going to play like I'm a power user here. Instead of actually going to like a vendor homepage or a PO homepage, we're basically going to search these particular pieces. Now, one thing that we need to do is we need to first figure out what our main container is going to be. I'm going to switch to a different piece right here. What we're doing is if we have products, we need to create the placeholders for putting these products in, okay? If I want just water and I want to sell it, I need to create that placeholder first. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy from a bunch of different vendors, and I'm going to shove it all through the same tube called bottled water. Does that make sense how we're going to do that? Okay, I'm going to switch back here. And if you're wondering where I'm switching, I actually had just another page open that had some graphics on it so I could kind of like, here's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, in order to set up water, the first thing I'm going to do is even see if I have it in here right now. So I'm going to click on my product, and I'm going to just type in water. I don't have anything that even matched WAT, so I know I need to add it, okay? In order to add it, it's very important that you know it's got to land here. I have to come through a vendor, through a PO to get it to here, so I even have that placeholder set up. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually run this under our own vendor. So basically, I don't want it to be Western Family, Nestle, this kind of stuff. I want it to just be water. So I'm going to create a general placeholder at this point. So up at the quick search, I said vendor, and now I'm going to type in part of the name of our vendor. And for training, I actually said ourselves, or the name of the company. So for John, this would be Highland Vineyards, okay? And he would actually have that as the name of his vendor. He would then say create a PO. This is the part that he's talking about. we have to do a setup PO. So guess what? We're using a setup PO in order to get that little item in there so that we can actually talk to it later on, okay? Boom, it's under a basic live, I'm just going to call it setup. Very simple. I'm going to come down and say, yes, they are in my inventory. I'm going to click add the PO. At this point, basically what it does is it creates a PO number, which basically creates that entity so it can bridge between the vendor and that inventory pool. Okay, I have 0 line items. There's not a whole lot going on my page. And basically right here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type water. Hey, I don't have anything that even remotely match that. Add the new product. Can I come in here? I'm not going to even say I have anything at all. 0, 0, 0. Do we want to call this bottled water or just water? Should we just call it water? We'll just do water, okay? Part category, let's just call this a basic item. Like, ideally, you would have whatever your deals were. Bottle of water, okay? And the cost, I don't even know this yet, but how much do I want to sell it for? Say you want to sell $1, $1.50, something like that, right? Boom, I'm going to say fix that price. Okay, hang on just a second. I clicked on the wrong thing. Sorry, my bad. I was just meaning to click, but I clicked on Add Edit, Unit of Measurements. It's going to be in each. I'm going to come down. I'm going to go ahead and load it. Also, for the barcode number, I'm going to type it in water or H2O or whatever I wanted to do, okay? Literally, you can make it, H2O is going to be my barcode for this particular piece. Add the product.
John just wanted to comment that he hates to flog a dead horse, but I think we're not explaining our issue. This involves a brand new vendor setup. Too many steps, is what he's saying. Are you going into that?
Okay. I need some more explanation as far as, like, is it a whole bunch of new products or just the vendor? Because there's a difference between the vendor versus what the vendor is actually selling or doing.
Mm-hmm. John, did you get that question? Yes, you did. So.
Okay, so what I'm doing right here is basically I'm creating a placeholder, and then we're going to actually buy from Nestle, and we're going to buy from Western Family and whatever, and then we're going to put it all under this generic container as well. And I was assuming that this is where you were going, but I may be missing part of what your question was. So if you can just type back to Shannon and in the chat window as far as what you're actually trying to do, we'll see if we can help you out there.
It's a brand new vendor. It has nothing to do with product.
Okay. Basically, I just created a brand new vendor. We can leave this right here. It's not going to hurt anything. What I did is a brand new vendor, and you're assuming you have to pay for somebody. Are we trying to add inventory to this vendor or just creating the vendor? That's the piece that I need to know, because creating a vendor, within 3 steps I can have a new vendor in the system. Within 3 steps. To have a new vendor and have them all of their products, I may or may not have that. Anyway, John, if you can just chime back in and let us know if we're trying to do just a vendor by itself or a vendor with products, because there is a slight difference there.
And then also from Timberline Herbal Clinic, they said, how do you enter new products for the vendors we already set up?
Okay.
It seems more difficult than it probably is.
Okay. Okay, cool. No problem. So basically, all of these seem to be the exact same question in a light way, okay? What it is, I'm going to take you back to the map for just a quick second, okay? And what happens is in order for us to play this general inventory pool so we can sell some things out of it, quotes or invoices through the shopping cart, they have to get here. So this is in the middle of our map. And basically what ends up happening is in order to get to the middle of the map, it has to come through a PO, through a vendor, through a PO. This is the path into this general inventory pool. You can't just get here to the middle and create something. Like, I'm going to back up for just a microsecond. One thing, if you have just an inventory system and you're not doing any sort of accounting, you probably could go right to the general inventory pool and add as many items as you wanted. Because Adilas goes clear to the accounting level, it's like, whoa. Who are you attached to? Was that paid for? Where did it come from? And so it does add a little bit of an extra step of complexity, but there's no physical way in a real world, unless you're not doing any accounting, if you just go right to the general inventory, the heart of your application, and just start plopping things in, you have no record of where it came from, what's it tied to, did I pay for it, did I not? That's why we follow this little path here, coming through a vendor, through a PO, and into the general inventory pool. This little piece right here, this vendor and PO tie, it ends up creating what's called our accounts payable. Very, very important if you're actually taking it clear to the accounting level. If you just plop things into the middle, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. So basically, right here, this general inventory pool, I'm going to briefly jump out and show you a couple of graphics that are associated with that. Shannon, yes?
So what John's looking for is he said we need to top set up a vendor that has not done business with us before. We need to set up the vendor first, then we can add the products we are buying from that vendor. So maybe that would also tie into Timberline's question.
Correct.
How do we add products to a vendor we have? So maybe if we could go through that process again.
Absolutely.
Add a vendor, add products to the vendor.
Add a brand new vendor, add products to that vendor. That's what our goal is. No problem. I'm going to show you one quick thing. We've been right here on the map just kind of talking concepts. I'm going to switch over one more tiny piece. Inside of this general inventory pool, you have to have a thing that we would call like a placeholder, okay? Imagine a can. You can see that these cans have just yarn in them. But each little new product has to have its own can where we can stuff information. What's the product number? What vendor is it tied to? What's the price? What's the this? We have to have the container. We also, in order to track inventory levels, instead of just saying, hey, this can has X number of product, we track things over time, and we allow you to virtually go back through time. So we have to run things through a pipe, okay? And what happens is you have incoming pieces through your POs, and eventually you sell pieces, and potentially at different rates. I buy 100, I stick 100 in. Coming out the other side, I might sell a couple days later I sell a couple more. And so what we do is, because there's this element of time, we run it through a pipe. So these two images right here hopefully will help you get a concept of where we're going to go. So let's do this just for fun. We've been dealing with candy. Why don't we switch to a different subject? We're going to do a totally different vendor, new vendor, and add some products. Why don't we ask them if they have an example for us, and we will run with one of their physical examples, either from the herbal company or from John. If you guys want, go ahead and chat in, and what we'll do is we'll just kind of choose one of those, and we'll run with that. By the way, Shannon is doing a great job handling all the chat. If you want and you want to participate, please chime in and she'll help wherever she can. She's doing a great job. I'm sorry for you guys. This is actually Bring the Lunch seminar, but guess what? If you're coming through GoToMeeting, I'm not going to pay for your lunch. So. Shannon, do we have any responses on that?
Not yet.
Okay. No problem. I will wait one more quick second, and while we're doing this, I hope that you realize that as we talked this morning, we talked about virtual world building and like how this happens in kind of fantasy and fiction and some of these sci-fi type stuff. Inside of Adilas, you literally build your own world. We have tools, we have permissions, we have settings, and what you do is you basically mix and combine and use, and then we help you go from there. Okay, do we have an example?
Yep, John says, how about a wine vendor that we are getting new wine from?
Okay, great. We're just going to call it. So John, here's how I'm going to run it, okay? There are multiple ways to do this, but this is how I do it, and I would kind of consider this kind of like a power user way of doing it, okay? I'm going to call it XYZ Wine, okay? So I'm going to, first off, I'm up at the quick search. This quick search is the most powerful piece in all of Adilas. This is virtually how you jump around. If you want to know how to use the quick search more, what you want to do is any help file, if you click on it and you go right here, there's a link, Adilas Quick Search Help, okay? If you click on it, it virtually will talk you through what do you do for balance sheets, what do you do for barcodes, what do you do for customers, all of the key words as far as what happens on these different pieces, okay? I'm going to click home so I'm on any page. It literally, I could be anywhere, okay? So I'm anywhere in the system. I click on vendor, and first thing I do is the new vendor's name. X, Y, I can't even spell, sorry. X, Y, Z. I'm going to see if I have a vendor under this name. Using the quick search, I'm virtually transporting myself to a different part of the world. Boom, I have XYZ. That is not who I wanted, okay? I'm glad that it found it, but it's not who I wanted. There's a button right here. Click it. I then type in the new name, XYZ Wine. Is that what I was going to call it? I can't remember. XYZ Wine. We're then going to enter the address, 101 North Main. We're then going to add the city. Let's pretend that we're in Logan, Utah. I'm using my tab key to jump from thing to thing, and basically it just allows me to go much faster. 84321 is the zip. Their phone number is 555-555-5555. Whatever. If I had fax number, I could enter any of this type of stuff. If I had an account number, I could enter an account number. ABC, CCC, whatever, -12. That's not really 12, but you get the point. Any other information, add the payee. As soon as I've added that payee, technically what happened is inside of my vendor world, I already now have a new vendor. This vendor has a new magic ID number, 28612 for XYZ Wine. At any point in time, as soon as I want to create a new product, immediately I can say, hey, heck, I'll just create a PO right from here. Okay, this is how I would do it. We're going to do it. Okay, what I was going to do is basically jump around and show you how you could search, but it might actually confuse you. We've done 2 steps here. We did an initial search. We didn't find it. We clicked on the add button. We added it. We're now at the page that says, hey, successfully added the new vendor payee. That's pretty simple. That's 2 steps. Click on create new PO. Okay, the PO is that, remember, that's the path into that internal piece where that general inventory pool is. We say, yep, basic live. It's tied to a certain location. And we're going to say new products. This PO notes, this is searchable, but this is just a general notes field. It requires 3 characters, but you can enter clear up to 255, like a whole paragraph. Ideally, if you literally had a new product, you probably have something sitting on your desk that tells you how many you have. I don't know the amount right now, and let's just say that we bought $150 worth. This is just kind of playing. I don't physically have this in front of us, but let's pretend that we're getting back to this. And they also gave us a quick little ID number. Doesn't matter if it's alpha or numeric, and I'm going to say, yes, they're in my possession. Add the PO. So I now have vendor to PO. I have a little connection started. I now need to start doing a thing. What we're going to do is we're going to call this, because this is XYZ Wine, we're going to create a new product called XYZ White. Let's just call it white, okay? Do I have anything? Oh, I don't have anything that matched this little portion of it right here, this XYZ White. I'm going to say add the new product. I don't like to leave spaces, but you totally can if you would like. Okay, we're going to call it XYZ White. We're going to track the quantity. We're going to come here. Once again, John, on your thing, you would actually have wines. We don't have it right this second. I'm going to do a quick little jump out to do it, okay? Normally, you shouldn't have to do this once it's in there once. We're going to do it again and again. So I'm really not losing anything, okay? It's basically my steps so far. I searched. I added a vendor, I said start a new PO, and I searched for the first piece. It wasn't found, and so now I'm basically like, oh, I don't have everything I need. I'm going to take another little side step and add a category really quick. And you'll only get this link if you have the admin permission. It's thinking right now. I've got a little swirly bar right up here. Guess I'm talking too long. And as soon as you use the internet, it also depends on your connection. It also depends on the server. It depends on a bunch of things. I'm going to hit back. I'm going to just try it again. Boom, we're right here. I'm going to scroll down to the W's to look to see if I have any wine. I have nothing under here under my W's. This is a play site, so it has a bunch of random things in it. Normally yours would have specifically exactly what you're needing. Wine, add the category. Successfully added it. It's great. If I scroll down, I will see it. Wine, there it is. Awesome. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to back up just a little bit. I'm going to use my super back button because I kind of had to take a side step. And I'm going to say, hey, let's go back to the actual error message that we had, or the the error message. Hey, I don't have your XYZ wine. Okay, add that product. Okay, I'm still at the exact same place that I was. The only difference is now all I have to do is just kind of fill in the rest. And now if I click here, I will actually have wine as part of my options. So I'll just call this, John, I don't drink at all, and so I'm totally going to be slaughtering this, demo, but basically I'm going to just call it white wine. Okay, oh man, I can't even spell. Okay, white wine, and we're going to come down. Ideally, we would know a cost. We're trying to get back to $150. Let's just say that this is an $8 a bottle, and I'm actually going to sell it for 14 bucks. Or if you want to be specific, let's go $13.95. Okay. As soon as you want to control the pieces that are on the end of that, you actually have to say, don't do a calculate on the fly, fix it. And that's actually a setting. Like if I always was doing just on the fly, I can actually set that from my corp-wide settings so that it would know that. $8, I'm going to sell it for $13.95. It's going to be in each, and bring it in. How many of these are we getting? I'm going back up to the top really quick here. Let's just say we're getting 20 of them. And I'm not sure how my math is going to work out, but we're going to fake it. If you wanted to, if you had a barcode reader, you put this thing in here, beep, and you barcode scan the thing. We're going to call it all white wine, all close and together. Add the product. So at this point, what we did is we searched for a vendor. It wasn't there. We added it. We created a PO, and we're starting to check to see if the items exist. And once again, the reason we do that is it has to be able to track itself back for the accounting parts of it. So at this point, I have 20 at 8, so I'm currently at $160. I've already overshot my mark, but we're going to add another one. We're going to do red, so this is going to be XYZ. Okay, and we're going to see what we have underneath that. Oh, I don't have anything underneath that. Say, no problem, add the new product. Here we go. And we got 20 of the last one. Let's say we got 10 of these. We're going to call it XYZ red. We're going to monitor the in and out. Because we already added this product category, we should be able to come right down to wine. And we're just going to call this one red wine. Okay? We're going to put its value. Once again, I don't know the values, but say this one was $6.75 or something like that per bottle. And I'm going to actually come here and I'm going to sell this one for $12.95. I'm going to say set it as the default. We're going to come down and I'm going to call this one, the barcode is red wine. Or if you had your barcode reader, you literally would zap the real thing and then you get the retail barcode. Add the products. So technically, I have a new vendor called XYZ Wine. I have 20 of what's called my white and 10 of my red. I've added 2 products to this new vendor. I have new quantities that are showing up, and I also have a disconnect right now. So my total ended up being $227.50 versus $150. Okay. And so basically, because I have these disconnects right here, it's like, help me out. So all I need to do to fix that is I hit Edit Main. Once you realize how these things are stored, it will help. So on the main, if I scroll down, right here is where I initially plugged in this value. The reason that it doesn't automatically keep up with like what you're adding is it has no clue when to stop. When do I know if I'm really missing something, or when do I know? So if you know it right off the bat and you have something in front of you, you would have typed that number in. But if you don't, you have to kind of like let it disconnect and then say, hey, I'll come back together. Right here, it tells me my value. I just selected this. I'm going to go ahead and type it in, 227.5. As soon as I do this and I update this PO or I edit it, so once again, I'm on the Edit Main, click. It now says, hey, whew, I'm happy. I don't have any disconnects. I now have that, and I have a vendor with product. Okay, so that's kind of the basic steps. Once the products are in there, let's do this. Let's say time has lapsed. And one of the questions was, okay, say we have a vendor, but we wanted to add new products. This first one, we had to kind of take a couple side steps because some of the pieces weren't in there. Let's say it's 2 weeks later and we're selling wine like crazy and we want to get to this type of stuff, okay? So what we do is from anywhere, we are going to make a new wine order. We say vendor. We say, okay, hey, I know this is my XYZ. What have I got? Oh, there it is. Perfect. Here it found it. We're going to say create a PO. We're going to say receive, great. Got more wine. Okay? Ideally, you would know the amount again. Let's say that we're selling this stuff fast. We got $200 and some odd last time. We're going to get a bunch more. Okay? If you have a different little thing, whatever you needed to put in for your vendor invoice, you can say, yes, I do have it. Go. At this point, I have the PO. This is a brand new one. Let's say time has passed. I have nothing in it. All I have to do is I can go like this. WH, what do I have under white? Perfect. Add it as a basic. I'm kind of flying right here, and I realize I'm clicking fast, but this is how easy it is. Hey, we got another 40 of those. Yep, it's still at $8. If it changed, I can modify it. Add that product. Okay? I also got some red. Boom, perfect. There it is. Add it as a basic line item. Bam, slam her in. Let's go 40 of those. 675. Oh, you know what? This one changed just a little bit. It's now 680. They had a little price increase. That will actually be monitored on that physical holder. Remember those cans? That's where it'll be recorded. It's like, oh, had a change. Okay, we're going to say add the item. That was piece of cake, piece of cake. The same vendor, we're plunking through, we're adding some new pieces, 40 and 40. And all of a sudden, we're like, oh, wow, they've got this new product that they sent us. Let's go ahead and add a new product. Let's see if we have it. So basically what I'm doing is I'm still on the PO, and I have to check to see if it's in my pool. So what I'm going to do really quick is just open up a new tab just to kind of walk you through what's going on, okay? So basically we have the vendor, we have the PO, we have 2 line items that have connected, we already have the placeholder, and now we're going to check to see if there's another little piece out here. And if it's not, we're going to need to add it. So I'm just going to kind of switch back again really quick to my PO. I'm still at my PO. And right now we have red and white wine, and we're going to actually come in here and say they have this cool thing that you could actually do, and I'm totally guessing right here, but say that there's a purple one. I don't even know if there exists a purple wine, but we're going to try it anyway. So XYZ PUR. I'm going to see if we have anything there. Nope, I don't. So what it did is it virtually went out and said, do I have a container? Do I have a placeholder? Nope, I don't. Okay, I need to add it. So I would simply just click add. Hey, we got 40 of these. We're going to try them. Everything else is selling great. PURPLE, purple. Monitor it. What? PUR. Okay, thank you. If I needed to, I could actually come back and change that, but thank you. Good catch, Cheryl. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to actually just kind of, I'm going to skip this piece, come right here. If you want to be a keyboard person, watch this. Tab, tab, W, tab, tab, tab. Write it in. Okay, we're going to come down. This one here is an experiment, so it's actually a little bit more expensive than some of our other ones. And so we're just going to see what happens. I'm just tabbing through the fields, and basically this one's, because it's the experiment, it's going to run just a little bit more than some of the other ones. Say, keep that. It's still going to be each. I'm going to come down, and I'm going to edit a barcode. Let's say that this one happens to be a numeric barcode, and I'm just going to do this 88888, okay? And say add the product. So basically what's happening now is that I'm back at my PO line items page. I have that same PO number of number 59. I now have white, red, and purple in there. So I now have all of these different little pieces. So that was 2 existing products and 1 new product, and we were able to add that relatively quick. We currently have a problem still, okay? So if I'm off. I was way off. And once again, in real life scenario, often you will have your information in front of you. So we're going to quick edit main. We're going to fix this guy. Scroll down. Here's where it's saying 962. So I'll just scratch that out. 962. and I basically say edit the PO. At this point, I'm very happy. Like, there's no more disconnects. I have printable options. I could save it as PDF. I can do whatever, whatever, whatever. I'm currently still in the line items section. This PO is happy. We've got lots of stuff. If I wanted to actually come in and say, hey, what do I have under products? Watch this. What have I got under red? I actually found a bunch of things. This is a play site, and there's my red wine down there. If it was too much, I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't want that much. It's as easy as going like this. Just add a little bit more to the criteria, boom, and you can filter that results down immediately. So it's currently saying I have 50. I could then go to my usage and check it or whatever.